anybody and everybody that will have me, because I'm on a mission, if you like. It's a purpose and a passion that I have these days to let people understand, particularly, although not exclusively ladies, that whoever and whatever we are, we're all enough. And far too many of us in this life labour under the misapprehension that we're not, basically. Does that make sense? Has anybody ever felt like that on any level? I'm not good enough, I'm not thin enough, happy enough, pretty enough, rich enough, clever enough. Enough already, enough. It's a crock. It's a load of rubbish. All of us, whoever and whatever we are enough. It's as simple as that. It's not simple, is it? To put you in the picture, I'm not sure how many of you know, one or two of you will know more about me than others, and some might not know anything at all. Long story short, a child of the 60s, cloth cap and clogs brigade. You know, dad was a miner, mum worked in engineering, elder of 4 siblings, and we grew up in the 60s of an era of like, money don't grow on trees, sit down. Where do you think that comes from? And all that, you know, completely the antithesis, if you like, of what I do today, which is, I should work with adults, I work with children, to let them understand that there's no such thing as can't, there's no such thing as impossible. Even the word, when you split it up, says I'm possible. Likewise imperfect, I'm perfect. Cut those 2 words out of your diary, cut them in half and stick them on your fridge. Don't ever have to look for it again, because you're not. None of you are perfect. You are all perfect in your own way. Another way of phrasing it would be that we are all perfectly imperfect, just the way we are. Hello?
Is that any better?
Yeah, I'm not just yet. Thanks for offering. I've had some random interruptions, but never mind. I believed the story I told myself for far too long. I'm not good enough, big enough, clever enough, pretty enough, you know. And I bought into it. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending which way you look at it, because these days I now believe, not only do I believe, it's a fact in actual, that there are 2 sides to every story every time. 2 sides to that table, that window, that ceiling's a floor upstairs. The argument you've just had with your old fella over tea time, 2 sides to that story. Mine's still wondering about whether or not he's going to wash the pots because I've pissed him off that much. Yeah? The point being that there's always another side. The stories we tell ourselves are the stories that can, if we're not careful, get us into massive trouble. My journey started very early on. 2 years old. 2 years old was the first beating I remember. You know? And again, it's the 60s. It's the given, it's the norm. You don't bear. My nan used to say, spare the rod, spoil the child. You know, you do as I say, not as I do. You know, and if you grew up in that era, you'll know what I'm talking about. However, most parenting skills are moderate. I don't have any hang-ups anymore with regard to my nemesis. Wasn't my father. But my mother knew what she knew. And I forgave her a long time ago for not knowing what she didn't know, if that makes any sense. However, the knock-on effect that had for me, in terms of my own mental health, meant that I grew up being a people pleaser. Saying yes when no would have been far more sensible. Trying to cram 36 hours into every 24 just because I wanted everybody to like me, to love me, to think how wonderful I was. Isn't she organised? Isn't she this? Is she... Swan. You know, sailing, gliding along, and paddling like the crazy underneath. I grew up to be what my nan would have called a melancholy child. We're Irish by descent. I now know that melancholy means depressed. You know, I was 2, 3, 4, 5. How do you get depressed? I now work with children. I know how they get depressed. The point is, when we're born, we come into this world a blank canvas. Every single one of us. We're born with innate behaviours. Those that we're naturally predisposed to. Yeah? So, the baby of anything, cow, mammal, human, dog, goat, anything, the first instinct a newborn has is to suckle. That's an innate behaviour. Very quickly, our first learned behaviour becomes, that's something we're not genetically predisposed to. We have innate behaviours and we have learned behaviours. Learn, so that means everything that you will ever learn, usually about yourself, you'll have done so by the time you're 7. Everything else is knowledge. It's a different thing. Education, so on. That's knowledge. We're adding knowledge. We're adding layers to what we already know about ourselves. Our self-image is born in childhood. Or should I say, created in childhood. By the time a child gets to 2 years old, little personality, terrible twos, lying on the floor, prostrate, tantruming in the middle of the supermarket. You know, in my son's case, he used to dance on the fish fingers in Sainsbury's in the days before they put sliders across the freezer. I'm sure they did it because of him. But the point is, when we're born, we instinctively know that if we cry, somebody's going to make something go better. We don't know that that's a cry. We don't know what this person is a human. We don't even know it's human. We don't know it's a parent or a carer. We don't know that what they're doing is maybe feeding us or changing us. We just know that when we go which gets louder as they get older, something changes and we feel better about ourselves. And by the time we're 2 years old, shut up, sit down, behave yourself. If I have to tell you one more time, I swear to God. You hear it all the time when you're out and about. You don't even have to be with your own kids. I had to be physically restrained and moved from Sainsbury's not so long ago because I was ready to lay a woman out. Seriously. All this child did, she would have been about 6 years old, or she said, Mum, can we have strawberry jam tonight? Bang! Shut up! Da, 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 da. My old man went, no you don't, come on, we're going. Because I'm passionate about making everybody and anybody understand that it's far easier to raise a whole child than it is to mend a broken adult. How do I know? And 1 in 4 of us, if not in this room, then certainly in the wider area of Wickersley, at any time in our lives will suffer a recognised mental health issue. Now that could be anything: panic, anxiety, OCD, depression, and you go up to the big boys, schizophrenia and all that business. And it all begins in childhood. We're born a blank canvas because our conscious is not developed. There is no filter on our brain. We just accept everything. It comes in and it stays in. Do you understand that there is nothing...
Sorry to be late.